Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the On the Right Side podcast, coming to you from the America First Warehouse in Long Island, New York. I'm Steve Levy, your co-host. I'm a former New York State Assembly member, Suffolk County executive, and the executive director of the Center for Cost-Effective Government. And my partner for today's show, the co-host from Real America Voice, David Zare. Welcome back, David. After an amazing Labor Day weekend, you'd think things would slow down, but more than ever going on, right?
Yeah, and I did nothing, and it was everything I thought it could be. Busy week last week, was on the ground at the White House 2 days last week, and went up to Dover, New Hampshire, sat down with the greatest mayor, Rudy, for a one-on-one 90-minute interview. It was excellent.
And that was, I think, before President Trump came out and said he was going to bestow upon Rudy the Medal of Honor for his amazing, I think it was the Medal of Honor, one of those.
Freedom.
Medal of Freedom. A Medal of Honor is for the servicemen,
Yeah.
for all of the work he did. And I'm so glad because when I was still a Democrat back in the old days, and I was running, it might have been county executive, I was asked, give me the name of a lawmaker that you really admire. And they were surprised when I said, as a Democrat, Rudy Giuliani. And they said, why would you as a Democrat? Now I'm a Republican because obviously the Democrats got too crazy. And I was always fiscally conservative, socially moderate guy. But I said, Rudy, because he showed that if you have the right policies and you have the guts to implement them, you can take a city that was deemed unmanageable and bring it back to life. Put the bad guys in jail, the violent criminals, take the hookers off the street, create a sense of investment. He did it. He did it. And he showed the rest of the country how to do it when everybody thought that urban America was gone for good, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just 9/11. It wasn't just about 9/11.
No, and I did about an hour. I have a 9/11 special coming out for Real America's Voice News next week, and we'll be doing 9/11 coverage down at Ground Zero like we typically do. And I get into his leadership role in 9/11, all the people, and the 50 friends, that he lost there, and how he coordinated with the governor's office and kind of like merged everybody in the same room and showed leadership skills, so it wasn't like he said, she said. They were always on the same page.
And there were big egos going on over there.
There was.
Too.
Well, listen, Giuliani has, there's a 40-year history of terrorism, and people really knew the genesis of 9/11 and the first attacks with, Mayor Kahana getting assassinated by El Sayed Nosair in 1990, and
the World Trade Center bombing in the basement in the 90s. People forget.
Right. So the first attack was really Mayor Kahana getting killed in the Marriott East Side Hotel. He was an Israeli Knesset member, and the first plot was to break him out of Attica. And because he was there in a gun charge, got acquitted of the murder of Mayor Kahana, El Sayed Nosair. They're going to break him out, but they got foiled by U.S. Navy intelligence. The second attack was to kidnap Aldamado's daughter and blow up 13 synagogues. And the first Trade Center attack, subsequently leading to the second World Trade Center attack, was because bin Laden got wind of that in 93, and he sent in 92 and sent Ramzi Youssef from the Philippines, who was Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's nephew, to the United States to teach these guys, Mohammed Salame and Mahmoud Abu Halima and the Blind Sheikh, who ran the Jersey City, Manhattan, and Brooklyn Mosque, how to make the ammonium nitrate diesel fertilizer
say those names
bomb.
3 times fast. That's pretty good.
Right? So there's a rich history of terror. And Giuliani goes into the interview, you guys are going to really like this, about all of the attacks that don't get talked about that he foiled. And the guy on his way to the toggle switch, and they killed him on the subway. And the $23 million weapons ring that was going on in Jersey City. And so it's really fascinating. But at the crux of the interview, which is another segment I'm doing on Breaking Point this Saturday, 8 a.m. on Real America's Voice. Download the app. And it's really good because it talks about how Rudy and I participated in this, working with builders alongside the Giuliani administration, how he cleaned up New York City with the New York City Housing Partnership run by Democrats. And he took the Jack Kemp Enterprise Zone and gave people home ownership opportunities in Bowler Avenue and Bushwick, Coney Island, Mermaid Avenue, and gave people home ownership, but then had the Anchor Revitalization Program, which encouraged builders to take risks in bad areas like Harlem. He's responsible for the Harlem revival.
Not just Harlem. You mentioned Bushwick.
Coney
David.
Island.
My father was a small business owner.
Yeah.
Had a business in Bushwick. Okay, now, if you understood what Bushwick, Brooklyn was in the 1970s, it really was a hell zone. This was the area that got burnt to a crisp in the blackout of 77, the year the Yankees won, right? My father's store was burnt down that day. You would not, you would not take money to live in that particular area at the time. Giuliani comes in, and then Bloomberg really expanded upon it even more so. But today, brownstones there are going for $2 million. Totally revolutionized that area because of the tax incentives and cleaning up the streets, et cetera. But the point I have for you, David, is I want to fast forward to the future. I want to be there in 100 years from now to see what historians and psychologists say that will help explain how American citizens, how the West itself allowed itself to devolve into this suicide, okay, this form of suicide. Because Giuliani took over for David Dinkins when the city was horrific, 2,000 murders a year.
And
right?
killing Jews in Crown Heights.
Exactly.
And the racial tensions.
Well, it was
unbelievable.
Off the charts. Giuliani cleans it up, cleans up Times Square, gets the murder rate. He and Bloomberg get the murder rate from 2,000 to about 300.
400, yeah.
Right? 400. Actually went below.
It went to 600, actually, and Bloomberg brought it down to 300.
And even in the de Blasio first years, it went down even further, under 3, because Bill Bratton was there. Then Bratton was gone, and de Blasio's Marxism came into play, and that led to the disintegration. And that's my point. Why would New Yorkers who saw the hellhole that it was with Dinkins and saw how Giuliani cleaned it up, then turn around and say, hey, we want that Marxist de Blasio to unravel it all. And now we want this guy Mamdani, who's telling you he's going to do de Blasio on steroids, and this guy's going to win.
It's all special interest. It's all NGOs. And I get into the interview, and Giuliani has disdain for many of the NGOs and the not-for-profits, saying they got rich on everybody's back. They displaced veterans in Staten Island for favor of illegals. And it wasn't just because they love illegals. It's because everybody's making money on it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so the money machine in New York, you know, the budget is bigger than Florida's, and there's 12 million people in Florida.
Twice as big as Florida's.
Yeah, more. And right. Well,
we're 250 some odd billion. They're about 117 billion.
Budget.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
New York City.
Oh, yes.
Right.
The
so
city
budget
alone. The
is
city
just
alone is as big as Florida's.
And there's 8 million people, and there's 23 million people in Florida, right? So,
by the way, in New York City right now, 1 out of 2 people are on Medicaid. Unbelievable.
You know, and yeah, 40% of Medicaid probably comes out of Brighton Beach, but that's another story for another show. I don't want to get whacked.
I want to stay on the NGOs. Okay. We have to do a whole show on NGOs. Great article in the Post just a couple of last week or the week before, how NGOs are the new method by which Democrats blow up government. It used to be they'd hire all these people onto the government rolls, right? And they still do. They did in Biden. But Biden figured out, wait, I put their money into the NGO. They hire people who are loyal to us. They then go out on their own time and knock on doors for us. They give us money, even though an NGO can't give you the money legally. Their people can. It is the new bureaucracy, right?
Well, it is, and it's BINGO because they hit bingo, right? Because when you go to like D.C. and in the 70s, a house was 50, 100, 150 grand in Alexandria, Virginia. You
Right.
can't touch anything for under $1 million now,
Right.
and it's because when you go and talk to people there in these rich areas like Oxon Hill, and a lot of minorities did very well down there working for government and stuff. But if you talk to them, it's like, what do you do? Oh, I'm an accountant. Oh, what do you work for? The government?
government.
Well,
No, a
we're
contractor to the
Yeah, we're a
government.
consultant. So
Exactly.
like, DC is this giant
Oh,
sponge
cesspool.
sucking the blood out of the rest of America, the incomes and the massive size of
Which
it.
is why that
I don't
state
know if
went
you could
blue.
defeat it. It's monolithic.
Well, I'll tell you, greatest example, Stacey Abrams. Thank God for Lee Zeldin, Long Islander, became the head of the Department of Environment for Trump. First thing he did was he uncovered, as he's going out the door, all of this money from his big Build Back Better plan, and starts shoveling it out to all his friends in the not-for-profits. One of them is Stacey Abrams. The NGO never existed. They propped it up in a month or two. He gave her $1 billion in this NGO. They still don't know what it does.
And remember all those projects under Obama, they weren't as shovel ready as he thought they were.
And remember, Bill de Blasio's wife, her NGO, getting $1 billion from de Blasio's budget
Isn't all that money
for
gone?
housing the homeless. A lot of good that did, right? What a segment. All right, we still have 2 more to go, folks. Lots to talk about. I don't know where we start. We can talk about the guy in England who said a trans joke and is getting arrested, what's going on with immigration and deportation of our MS-13 pal, and so many other things. Stay with us on the Right Side. We'll see you back in 3 minutes.
Who broke the television? Can we laugh at that? Sounds a little mean.
As of this week, public gay sex will now be mandatory.
Am I the only one that sees lips move?
Keep going, baby.
I'm sorry, maybe I overreacted.
Corporate transfer, fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
Hey, fellow patriots, it's Cindy Gross here, host of Right for America, from your favorite place, the America First Warehouse. You've seen me show on my show so many products from this country's #1 most patriotic manufacturer with close to 400 products. You need to exchange the products you use in your house to this company and make your dollars count in our country.
Freddie Rubino here at the America First Warehouse. I'm inviting you to the live taping of the Not So Newlywed Show. Just click on the QR code right above my shoulder and you can get tickets. Live taping of the Not So Newlywed Show. Drinks, snacks, it's a great time. We'll see you there October 18th.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
Hey, folks, welcome back to On the Right Side, segment 2 here. I'm Steve Levy, your co-host, the former Suffolk County executive here on Long Island, former New York State Assembly member, and an inside contributor to Newsmax, and also on the dais. I'm not going to say to my right or left anymore. It gets too confusing. I'll say my partner over here is David Zare from Real America Voice.
Real America's Voice, yeah.
He's got a Saturday morning show called Breaking Point. You guys got to check it out. It's live at 8 o'clock every Saturday. And David, you do a lot of research, man. You're like me. I have my Center for Cost-Effective Government, and we're popping out white papers all the time. But you do your own research, and you've been finding, as has been reported in some media outlets, how in Chicago these frauds are cooking the books when it comes to crime, because they're terrified that President Trump is going to send in the National Guard and do to Chicago what he did to Washington, D.C., and that is dramatically reduce crime. That's the last thing these scoundrels want, because it will expose them for being a bunch of incompetents who have allowed this carnage to perpetuate for decades. So what do you got? Let's talk about these stats where they say, oh, everything's down, it's not a problem, it's all in your head, blah, blah, blah.
Well, every blue city in America is a high crime and high poverty rate, basically. So, and
they've had 50 years to correct it. Squat.
Chicago's been run by Dems for 100 years, right?
Yep.
I've been to over 35 states following the Trump campaign, in every blue city in America, from Albuquerque, which was the biggest shock, like 6th highest violent crime rate in the country. I mean, it was brutal. One of the county executives north of Albuquerque is actually asking, who's a Democrat. Everyone's a Democrat in New Mexico,
Yep.
right? The city council, the county executive, the governors, the assembly, the congressmen, the senators, and now the Democrats are asking for help from Trump in New Mexico.
I'd like to see it.
Chicago, over 58 shot Labor Day weekend.
6 or 7 killed?
Nine it's up to.
9 it's up to
Right?
now. Somebody in the hospital just
9
perished.
killed. And the totals for August alone, 39 shot and killed in Chicago here. 208 people shot and wounded.
It's several times more than even New York, which has seen spikes since 2019.
Murder rate's about 4 or 5 times
Yeah.
higher than New York. And 43 homicides alone in Chicago just for August. And that's very high, considering Chicago is about 2.5 million people and New York City is about 8.5 million people.
Right.
So the numbers are astounding there. But
they'll claim, David, oh, but look at our trend. It's trending down. First of all, that's like someone who gained 400 pounds, went on a diet, and lost 25 and said, look at me, don't I look great? I lost 25 pounds.
It's trend de agora down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay. I talked to Pastor David Lurie, who I brought here to the warehouse. By the way, a shout out to Joe the Box and the great crew and his family here at the America First Warehouse. Go to theamericafirstwarehouse.com. But, I flew in black plasters from around the country last year here for a special at the warehouse, because this was getting traction.
Who used to be totally in the tank with the Democratic Party and their pay-to-play. They'd get money for the church from the Democrats, and then they'd get the congregation to go out there to support
And that's
them.
exactly right. And like Vince Everett Ellison said, you can't leave the plantation because you got the Democratic clergy, you got
They
the
own you.
Democratic civics.
Right.
And, and then you've got the DNC breathing down your neck. And they got this triangle that's like suffocating the black population and forcing them basically to vote for Democrats. And they're the
Because it's their meal ticket now.
The pastors are on the gravy train,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
these guys aren't. And Pastor David Lurie and these other guys, they're really, really good. And
What are they saying about the crime
well,
over there?
Pastor Lurie is maintaining that the Chicago Police Department and the administration, from the governor on down, and this guy's running for mayor in 2026, and he's very upset because he's on the street, and he's a former Disciples gang member, and he reformed his life. He got shot. He trained Michael Nunn, a welterweight, heavyweight boxer. He was a former NFL, USFL professional football player, and he's maintaining that they are burying the numbers, and that the reason is because they don't want ICE coming to the jails to pick up the criminals. So when they shoot and kill people or stab people or assault people or rob rob them or get are incarcerated for other infractions, they don't stay in jail.
Right.
They get let out the back door. And I am trying to assemble more numbers on that. But I thought it was really fascinating, and it's timely.
Well, you see it in New
but
York,
the
too.
people on the street in Chicago know the numbers are bull.
Exactly. In New York, right? You can tell me all you want that numbers were down. And I think they're coming down legitimately since Tisch, the new commissioner, has been bringing back CompStat
rape
and
is up
stuff like that.
22%,
I got
but,
it.
yeah.
But remember, Alvin Bragg, the DA in Manhattan, came into office saying, I'm just going to stop prosecuting these minor offenses, okay? So just because he's not prosecuting them and putting them on the books as a crime doesn't mean it's not happening. So the real test as to whether crime is going up or not is you go to the CVS, and if they're boarding up all of the deodorant, you know it's because crime is up. They can say, oh, look, we have less shoplifting. Well, that's only because you're not prosecuting the shoplifters. And the stores got tired of calling in the theft because they know you're going to come down and do nothing. And then if you do collar these guys, the DA is not going to bring a case against them.
So when Bragg came in that first year or two, they only prosecuted 7% of the violent crimes.
Right.
And the stores are not reporting the theft.
Of course.
They stopped.
Right. Because it's useless, futile.
You got 10,000 less cops than when Bernie Kerik were there. Listen, I got new numbers for you from New York City here, year to date.
Okay, let's go.
Rape is up 23.4% year to date. 1,348 people have been raped, mostly women. Listen, it's up 400 people from last year, or 300 people or so. Felony assaults. 51,000 New Yorkers have been victims of felony or misdemeanor assaults.
And those are the ones that are reported.
Year to date. Right. So, they can BS us all they want, too, in New York City.
But,
Tisch is a little better, but Adams is a complete failure.
Yeah, he's all over the map. The thing is, we said, well, he's better than the commies that would have won 4 years ago. And he might be a little better than the commie who will probably win, but they all suck. I mean, Curtis Lee was the only guy who you'd have confidence in, and unfortunately he's not gaining any traction right now because New York City's so overwhelmingly Democrat. But it is quite frightening. But, the Democrats look so god-awful bad in fighting Trump's attempt to do something. Whether you agree or disagree, you got to give the president credit for saying, look, people are scared to go into the downtowns. They're scared to go to work. They're scared to go on the subway. We're not going to tolerate this anymore. They're tired of the revolving door. I heard a stat that the top 4 shoplifters in New York City had a combined rap sheet of 800 arrests. Yeah. There was one guy who assaulted some woman. They found out 250 arrests. How can you possibly have 250 arrests? It's almost logistically impossible. And yet, a far cry from the 3 strikes you're out days back in the 1990s when they really brought in more police through the Clinton bill, along with Gingrich, and toughening up the sentences, as Giuliani did with broken windows theory, stop and frisk, CompStat, which put the cops in the areas where you have the most crime and anticipate the crime and prevent the crime. And the thing that stopped the crime with all the National Guard is not even them arresting people. It's the mere presence that deters the crime, right?
It does. And listen, the New York City's mayor's race, now they're talking about the Trump people giving Adams a job to drop out of the race.
Probably will happen. But then you still got Curtis in there.
The problem is, Andrew Cuomo can't beat Mamdani head-to-head. And Curtis could win in a 4-way race. I don't think he can win head-to-head, right? So the big problem that we have here is that, Rudy Giuliani was very sour on Mayor Adams in my interview with him.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a total failure because,
caused the immigration problem in New York.
And it's been a house of cards lately, more scandal coming out and everything. But he doesn't like Andrew Cuomo. And he was friends with Mario Cuomo. He was very fond of Mario Cuomo.
Yeah.
Now, Mario Cuomo was a big lib and socialistic tendencies and everything, but he was a better governor than Andrew Cuomo.
Oh, no question.
And they became close. Rudy and him. But New York City has a real problem. Listen, Zoran Mamdani, in about 20 seconds, every day he has a creative post on Instagram and TikTok. They get like 50, 100, 200,000, 500,000, 1 million likes. He's got massive social media.
And these other guys are dinosaurs.
And he's got all these young people that are going to be at the helm. It's not like the Trump administration has young people running the communications office and they're really competent and sharp. But he's going to bring in all these kids who don't know nothing about leadership. And the crux of the Giuliani interview, which you guys will see this Saturday on Breaking Point, we have no leadership in New York. We need leadership.
No, absolutely.
And it's not going to happen under Mamdani. It'll be a runaway train.
Kudos for the president in putting the pressure on these cities to try to do something, because your answer, Democrats in these blue states and cities, cannot be, we don't want you here. What's your plan? And by the way, let me get this out. For all of you folks out there, viewers, who are watching CNN, a debate show, or you'll hear Pritzker from Illinois saying, why isn't Trump putting them in the red states where the crime is high? Well, first of all, he should. He should put them in Memphis, Tennessee. But remember this. It's not the state. It's the cities. It's the city. The cities, of the top 50 cities, I think 40 highest crime cities, 47 of them are run by Democrats. It's the mayors who deal with the policing policy, and it's the district attorneys who've been bought off by George Soros, who just lets them all out. All right, we got 10 seconds left in this edition. We're going to be back in 3 minutes, and we'll talk about some of these court decisions, David, that seem to be so terrible, but there's still hope at the end of the line. So be back in 3 minutes, folks, on the right side.
Corrupt judges, broken families, families torn apart. This isn't justice. If you've been wronged by the system, join us. Don't stand alone. Hi, I'm Gary Jacobs, president of Americans for Legal Reform. We're the oldest legal reform group in the United States. The justice system in the United States should be transparent, fair, and open to everybody and accessible. Unfortunately, many times that's not the case. At Americans for Legal Reform, we are here to help. Join the movement. Visit AmericansForLegalReform.com and help reform the system before it fails you.
Hi, my name is Elena Ruseva, aka Megalangela. Please check my art at www.megalangela.vip.
The America First Warehouse Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Warehouse Ultra MAGA Store.
The Queens Village Republican Club is America's oldest Republican club, founded in 1875. Situated in President Trump's hometown in Queens, New York, we are America First MAGA Republicans, empowering fellow Republicans to get involved in the game of politics at the grassroots level. We host inspiring monthly club meetings on the first Thursday of each month at 8 p.m. For more information, please go to our website at www.qvgop.org.
It's Tuesday here at the America First Warehouse. I am Joe the Box.
And I'm John the Blanket.
Freddie Rubino here with my podcast. That's what I'm talking about. Coming to you live from the most patriotic venue in the land.
Welcome to Right for America.
I'm James Justice. We got Stephen Ruth over here. What are we doing, Steve?
Fighting morning.
Welcome to Tune In Tuesday of the Patriots Podcast, live streaming every Tuesday night at 7:30.
Another edition of On the Right Side here, and you can catch us weekly, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
And welcome to Liberty's Cage, where we rip the veil off America's broken justice system, prisons that crush spirits, and a society that shuns people who have paid their price.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kevin Downey Jr. Podcast. Be free, stay free.
Welcome to Suffocating in Suburbia with me, your host, Stevie GB.
Hey, welcome back. This is David Zier, Real America's Voice News. I'm here with Steve Levy, former Suffolk County executive, Republican, Democrat-turned Republican, fiscal conservative, was a great New York State Assemblyman, and the fiercest campaigner in New York. We are live at the America First Warehouse here. Thank you for joining us today. Go to America First WH on X and follow the Warehouse. And get involved. We got a great week coming up of programming. We're going to come in after 9/11 coverage of Real America's Voice. And next week, Thursday and Friday, we got the War Room coming to America First Warehouse.
That's big.
Steve Bannon and the crew. Just an amazing week coming up for Real America's Voice and the America First Warehouse. So much going on out there. Now, really quick, in Virginia, Sponberger, the Democratic running for governor, is vowed to push for more men in women's bathrooms. So if anyone thinks
and
this
sanctuary
is
cities
going away,
right.
It's not going away.
And don't buy the crap that she's a moderate either.
And I'm very concerned, we can get into this later, the midterm elections, it's +1 in the Dems' favor right now next year.
Which should be +9 right now.
Yeah, and it's very scary. And you know the next summer will be like not the summer of love, but the summer of, I fell out of love or something with America. And there's going to be a lot of controversy and maybe things going on that shouldn't be. So the trans shooting, right? The guy posted on one of the social media platforms, right? Or I think in his letters that he met the guy who was the head of the SHOT Show, right? In Vegas.
Satirist.
Right?
Oh,
no, you're talking about the British guy.
Yeah,
right,
well.
So tell us about that. So this guy makes a joke. And he's a British citizen in the United States.
British citizen in the U.S., puts on a post on X along the lines of, it's crazy and dangerous to have a biological male in a female locker room or bathroom. For that, he was arrested by 5 English police officers as he exited the tarmac flying back from the U.S. to England. And by the way, David, he is not alone. 30 English people, residents of England, they might not all be citizens, but probably are, 30 Englishmen a day are now being arrested for posting things that the government just doesn't like. And it's usually something that has to do with immigration or the trans issue. And, Nigel Farage, who's their conservative leader,
probably
really
going to be prime minister one day.
Hopefully soon. He just plastered Jamie Raskin at a hearing today, but he's saying, and rightly so, as is Ben Shapiro and other pundits, this is really frightening what's going on in Europe. And it was what Vice President Vance warned the Europeans about in his first trip over there at the beginning of the new administration. What is going on with you guys? You're so worried about fascists. You are becoming the fascist.
Oh, yeah.
Germany, on 60 Minutes, they were expressing with glee how they will monitor you. And if you say something that is offensive to someone else, you're going to jail.
England's headed for civil war.
Yeah.
And Sharia law rules the day over there.
I heard there's 70 Sharia courts in England going on right now.
Right. It's a very sad situation.
And by the way, could I just say, you're talking about Sharia?
Yeah.
Did you hear this about this immigrant sought to kill his daughter in an honor killing in Washington State? Got 20 months. Thank God she wasn't killed because witnesses intervened and pulled him off her. But he was there to kill her. Why? Because she refused to marry an older man in India, I believe, which the father tried to arrange. Said, I don't know this guy. I don't want to marry him. And he sought to kill her.
And remember earlier this year, a Pakistani-American father, they traveled to Pakistan, killed a 14-year-old New York girl in Pakistan in an honor killing. I don't know if you remember the one
coming to a community near you, folks.
Yeah, there was one upstate, if you remember, like a beheading of one of the guy's daughters near Buffalo a couple of years back. That's what goes on. And listen, it's not routine, but women are stoned to death in Muslim countries.
But there's got to be a deterrent.
Prevalent here, but
when you give 20 months for an attempted murder, and the jury said it was an attempted murder, the daughter felt it was attempted murder. And, which another trans issue that happened a week or two ago was the mass shooting in that church. God rest the souls of those young children. At least 2 were dead. And wasn't it remarkable to see how the media, which is obsessed with trans, all they want to talk about is trans. In the AP article, it was never mentioned that the shooter was trans. And normally you'd say, okay, not a big deal. But this is the 4th major shooting, mass shooting, by a trans individual. And as I think it's Carol Markowitz, the columnist for the New York Post, said, hey, 4 is a trend. Shouldn't we be looking at why this is happening? Maybe when you're pumping all these hormones into these kids, and at the same time, Democrats in the media telling them, everybody hates you. Everyone's against you. Everybody wants to kill you. Maybe you should stand up for yourself and strike first. It seems that's what the message that these kids are getting.
Listen, the dysphoria kicks in. And, you're doing this to kids at 13, 14, and then when they're 23, they're pissed.
They're suing.
And they are. But I have an idea for all of you out there. All the victims of the Minnesota shooting, injured, not injured, you were there, you have trauma, you can have lifelong trauma. Why don't you take a class action suit against Tim Walz for promoting tampons in boys' bathrooms? Because he's the spark. He's the spark that has led to this kid getting this treatment, even if it's not directly correlated, there is a correlation.
And we're not saying the guy should be indicted for murder. We're not saying that.
No.
But it's his policies that are
a civil court. Which does not
these
have
policies
to be,
creating this environment and this atmosphere that makes these things more likely to occur.
$1 billion decision against Tim Walz and the likes of the Walz administration in Minnesota for pushing all this crap.
Hey, civil suits work,
to the
man.
fervor and the environment of this.
Hey, when prosecutors looked the other way as these Hamas sympathizers were harassing Jews and assaulting them, it was the civil cases that brought the universities and these organizations to their knees. The threat of bankrupting these institutions. So I think you're onto something with that, Dave.
Yeah, just an idea.
Absolutely.
Even a clock's right twice a day, Steve.
Hey, there's been a number of lawsuits that came down over the last week that were not very good for on the right side. I'll tell you that. Really bad ones. And if they're upheld, this could spell real trouble. You've got a judge saying that Trump does not have the power to unilaterally impose all these tariff change. Whoa.
Yeah, heading for the Supreme Court.
Yeah. It's going to be monumental. A second one dealing with the use of the National Guard, saying that Trump did not have the authority, which was ridiculous, to send the Guard into L.A. to defend ICE and ICE officers. And the third one is on immigration, denying the president the ability to expand expedited removals
and
for
use
people.
The Insurrection Act.
And to use the Insurrection Act to get people out of here due to the invasion of the illegal aliens. Which one do you want to start with?
I want you to explain the L.A. thing, but first I just wanted to ask you on the first one. What was the
tariffs?
On the tariffs. Like Peter Navarro said, I think it was the other day, the America's done if these don't stand.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's trouble. I'm scared of this one because technically, when I first saw this thing going out, look, the Constitution does say it's Congress that taxes and Congress that does tariffs. So now the president, President Trump has understood that Congress just sits back and does nothing and just waits for the president to take action. I said, look, Obama took his own pen action, executive action, and so did Biden. I'm going to do it as well because Congress won't act. But I was always fearful, I don't know if this is going to be upheld, and you're never going to get 60 votes from the Senate to uphold his tariff powers and his actions. So let's say after all this, he's now got tariff plans, trade plans in place with Japan, with the EU, with all of these other places. Are they going to go by the wayside now? And then all of these investments, the trillions of dollars that were slated to come back into the states because of this, are they gone? Wow, I'm really worried what this could mean. Fortunately, it hasn't been implemented yet. It's got to go to the Supreme Court. I don't know how they're going to meander through this.
Yeah, all eyes will be on that. I wanted to ask you about L.A., right? So the court made a decision but that the National Guard couldn't be deployed by Trump, but is allowing them to stay there to give him time for an appeal hearing on September 12th.
Very, very strange. And they're wrong on this. Look, if they said Trump does not have the ability to send the Guard into Chicago or Memphis without coordination of the local police department, maybe you can say that. But in any case, the president always has the right to send in the Guard in emergency situations. And this court was saying, well, it really wasn't an emergency as to what was going on in L.A. as riots were going on and ICE officials were being attacked and ICE facilities burnt down. That judge was totally wrong on that. But the scarier part is when it's going to be tested with Chicago, Memphis, and a lot of these other states.
Yeah, well, they're setting up next summer for the midterms.
And you think that these city mayors would say, we want to cooperate with you. We saw what you did in Washington. But the point is, David, they hate Trump more than they love their own citizen safety, unfortunately.
Yeah, true words by Steve Levy here. We're coming to you live from the America First Warehouse. When we come back, we got more for you. Don't go anywhere. And thank you for joining us today on The Right Side.
Join us for the Pro America Go Tour event happening on Saturday, September 6th in Queens, New York. Brought to you by Go USA and Royal Blue Entertainment. This nonpartisan event is all about debates on your rights, the economy, borders, crime, and more, with lunch, dinner, and hot entertainment. Keynote by China expert Gordon Chang, and hear from New York City mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa, Maud Marone for AG, and many others. Get your tickets at partiaevents.com. That's PARTEA events.com. Thank you.
Good morning. It's me, Joe the Box, wearing my Border 911 hat signed by Tom Holman, Rodney Scott, and Sarah Carter. The country has had enough. The American Horror Story is over. Border 911. Tom Holman is coming through. My brother's son, my friends' children. We're done with it. 100,000 were lost lives every single year. God bless you, Tom.
Are you a musician, comedian, actor, filmmaker, or artist who stands for traditional American values? Do you believe in the preservation of our nation, our culture, and our freedoms? If you share our passion for America and want to use your talents to make a difference, we want to hear from you. Our mission is clear. Through the arts, we uphold the principles of freedom, faith, family, and the American spirit. It's time to step up to the mic and make your voices heard. So contact us at AmericanConservativeArtists.com. The Queens Village Republican Club is America's oldest Republican club, founded in 1875. Situated in President Trump's hometown in Queens, New York, we are America First MAGA Republicans, empowering fellow Republicans to get involved in the game of politics at the grassroots level. We host inspiring monthly club meetings on the first Thursday of each month at 8 p.m. For more information, please go to our website at www.qvgop.org.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
Hey, welcome back, everybody across the United States. We're here at the America First Warehouse, the most patriotic venue in the United States. The dream and inspiration of Joe the Box, John the Blanket, here on Long Island, just outside of New York City. So many great events. We've had so many great events here over the years, you know, bringing in people like MTG and Miranda Devine and Monica Crowley and John Solomon and Kash Patel. Amazing. And then Steve Levy shows up. It's unbelievable, kids. Steve Levy, former Suffolk County executive, New York State Assemblyman, fierce campaigner, Democrat turned Republican, fiscal conservative. What did I leave out?
I don't know, because my earpiece went out. So I contributed to Newsmax, amongst other things, run my think tank Center for Cost-Effective Government. I'm a busy boy, just like, not as busy as you, though, Mr. World Traveler.
Yeah, well, listen, we're trying to get the news out and just tell the story of the American people, what they're going through, the real voices on the ground. That's what Real America's Voice News is all about. I'm so glad to be part of it. Coming up on 7 years this winter.
Wow. I remember when you just started that, too.
Yeah, it's a little sprout. Okay, so much going on, not enough time. 1 hour is not enough time, but we want to talk about like a little speed round here. Overstaying of visas.
Yeah.
Now, how many are in the United States on visas?
Blew my mind on this one, David. And I know my immigration stuff inside out. 55 million people are here in this nation on visas, according to the administration. And God bless them. They're saying, administration saying, we got to crack down on this. People don't understand. Only about half of all the illegal aliens in America today have come across the border. The other half, it's anywhere from 45 to 55%, came here legally on vacation, on business, on a short-term visa, and they just don't go back.
So why shouldn't they be deported?
Of course they should be deported. Okay. But the Democrats want them here forever because they want to grant the amnesty and have the voting pool and have them counted in the census.
Try to do that in Romania.
Of course. It's as a, how about the Indian visa overstayer who did the illegal U-turn in California and
Florida,
Florida,
yeah.
but he got his license,
right.
His commercial license in California and state of Washington, killed a family of 3. How about the overstayer from another country who firebombed Jews outside a Jewish center and killed at least one individual?
Yeah.
Not only overstayed his visa, Biden gave him work papers, okay? And his whole family was allowed to stay, even though they stayed illegally. So God bless the administration, go after these guys. And Rubio, our Secretary of State, is taking it one step further. He's saying, hey, if these people are from hostile nations and we consider Hamas, that whole area, and Gaza to be hostile, we're not giving any of them unless it's very well vetted and they can say this is a real patriot.
Now, Mahmoud Abbas, head of the Palestinians, wants to come to the UN. Rudy Giuliani didn't let Arafat come to New York City.
Rubio just
You don't agree with blocking Mahmoud Abbas from coming to the UN?
No, not a good fellow. He's a corrupt tyrant who first got elected in 2005 or 6. He's now on the 20th year of his 4-year term.
Why does he deserve the stage here?
Listen, because you got bad actors all over the world, including Putin, including Xi, and we're not saying you can't come. Look, if we're going to be the host as the United Nations, supposedly neutral ground, you can't start going down that path because it's never ending. So that's a mistake. But all the other stuff
they've ever made, the PLO, the PLA, you name it,
They're horrible.
Hamas, they've never kept any promise.
Of course, they're horrible, but the whole point of the United Nations is to have a forum where all sides, including those you vehemently disagree with, can sit together and try to work things out, even though it's a sham. It really
Soviets
doesn't.
For 30 years.
Listen, but I do give credit to Rubio
Yeah.
for saying, look, you're a student, you're here on a visa. That's a privilege, man. You don't have the right to desecrate America and to foment violence and to, burn the American flag. An American citizen does, not you as a guest here on a visa. Get out.
Yeah. Can we shift gears for a
Yeah,
second?
absolutely.
Okay.
I got this
The BRICS nations, China and Russia meeting. Caught off hot mic moment, talking about we're going to achieve immortality together or something crazy like that. Is Putin sticking it in the eye of Trump?
Well, he sure is. And, the president has been way, way too lenient here, giving time. Don't get played,
Another 500
Mr. President.
drones yesterday, I think, launched into
Yeah, don't get played. He's starting to sound tougher now in a tweet this morning that thank you, sent a tweet to Xi. Thank you for welcoming Kim and Putin as you plot against America. Okay, now the rhetoric is changing. You have to follow that up with major sanctions against Putin. It's the only thing he will understand. But here's the scary part, David.
Yeah.
Not only did you have Russia and China and North Korea, which you knew was always a thing, you now have India going in there, and that scares the hell out of me because they should be our natural allies.
So first, Trump reminded President Xi that the United States helped liberate China in World War II, because of Chinese aggression. Right?
As if Xi
the
cares.
war started in
Right.
the 30s, right? He doesn't care. But, the BRICS nations aligning, right? Trading on the petrodollar.
Brazil.
Getting away from the U.S.,
India,
right?
Russia, China.
So like 25% of the GDP for the world belongs to the BRICS now, and it's an alliance. Even Saudi Arabia moved towards them because under
Which, by the way, we should say, it
Biden-
takes them off the dollar.
Under Biden, they didn't trust the U.S. to defend them.
Right.
So even Saudi Arabia moved over to BRICS. But you have India has always been a customer of the Soviet Union. Their nukes were developed by the Soviet Union.
They play both sides.
Their submarine fleet, their military, was built by the Soviets. So there has been a long time alliance. But I guess what we're worried about, right, if we ban oil from Russia, doesn't it get there anyway through India and other pathways, right?
Very possible.
So
But,
can he skirt the sanctions? That's my question.
In my book, Solutions to America's Problems, this was 5 years ago, I wrote about how we have to decouple from China because they're awful. We have our pharmaceuticals from them. We have parts for our weaponry and everything else. And I said, let's pivot from China to India. India is a democracy. Yeah, supposedly. India, a big Indian population, very patriotic.
And
here in
Modi's
America.
been friendly to Trump.
Yeah, but Modi's all over the map.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He's a player. He's very transactional,
Remember, he came to Houston. They got 50,000 American Indian population out. Not American Indians, but,
Right.
out for him
Indian
in the
American.
Houston arena.
Yeah.
Pretty spectacular support for him.
So, the hope was India was going to supplant China as being our biggest overseas trading partner. And it just hasn't developed because Modi is such a transactionalist. He doesn't have an ideology. He goes where his bread is being buttered. And it is really frightening to see him join BRICS, which is an attempt to take away U.S. dominance on the dollar as the world currency. And now you see them playing this intermediary mode of helping prop up Russia in the war against Ukraine. So really a shame there. If Trump maintains power of the tariff, he could probably twist enough arms to get him back into our good graces. But if the court decision holds that Trump doesn't have the power of the
'cause Trump
tariff,
put a 50% tariff on Indian imports.
the war he settled was because of the threat of tariffs.
Right.
You take that away, and he's
There's
much
no doubt
less
about
potent.
that. But you know what? Good for Trump for standing up to Modi because, my friend was going to buy 25,000 bathtubs for the New York City plumbing program in New York City. He was going to redo the bathrooms in this government-funded housing, and he flew to India.
$1 million a
got
bathroom?
off the plane. No, he got off the plane to try to buy tubs cheaper than he can get them in the U.S. And he went to the factory right off the plane and saw 8-year-olds breathing in lead fumes, putting these manufacturing these bathtubs.
As is the case in China.
And he walked out and he got on a plane and never looked back and swore he'd never do business with
Well,
India.
that's a guy with morals, and most won't
Yeah.
because it's all about the bottom line,
and
right?
he's
Nike, talking about you, Apple.
Yeah.
Though Apple's seeing the light and bringing their people back thanks to Trump and the tariffs,
Yeah.
right?
No, there's no doubt about it. So,
hey, we
turn the screws on these.
We got a minute left here. I got to talk about this Subway sandwich guy. The guy
Who, Jarrett?
Yeah, good one. This guy works for the DOJ. Is yelling at the ICE officers, takes a Subway sandwich, throws it in the face of the chest of the guy. They tackle him. Janine Pirro down there says, "We're going to nail your ass." Goes before a D.C. jury. They let him off. No, we're not going to prosecute. 2 other instances. People threatened to kill the President of the United States. They let him off in D.C. jury.
Yeah,
what the hell is going on?
The 2028 DNC convention is going to have a Subway sandwich in the logo. That's their new battle cry, you know. And this guy worked for DOJ, right? Who threw the sandwich at the police?
Yeah, well, at least they're firing him
At the
from
guard.
DOJ.
Yeah.
But, you wonder how, they were able to indict Trump in D.C., it's a no-brainer. I mean, you can't get any kind of fair trial. It's almost like having been a black man or woman going up to trial in Alabama in the 1950s. You weren't getting justice, and now it's flipped, where if you're a Republican in D.C., forget about it.
Yeah, no.
It ain't happening. And any parting words or things to announce coming up?
Yeah, hide the women and children. Zohran Mamdani is going to be your next mayor in New York City. But I want to thank you guys. Go to Real America's Voice News and download the app. Breaking Point's on Saturday, 8 a.m. I part of my interview with Rudy Giuliani. The rest next week for 9/11. And back to you, Steve.
Follow my stuff at stevelevy.info, where you'll see all my commentary on Newsmax, Washington Times, Washington Examiner, and also look to the Center for Cost-Effective Government.org for all of our white papers. We're going to see you next Wednesday, 2 o'clock live on the right side. Have a good week.